Hi guys, Andy Work here. This is part 2 of the build of the beauty, not part 3 like I said in my recent post, because I got that wrong as well. And I just reviewed the final movie, not the final movie, the first movie, and I said all about painting it in this splinter camouflage pattern and everything. Hasn't happened. I've done something else. Sorry about that if you're expecting it. And really sorry it has been so long since I got to this. I've had some personal problems I had to deal with, all sorted now. So let's get on with the movie. You'll see everything. Basically, this whole movie is the rest of the build. There's a bit of assembly and most of it focuses on the paint job. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to add the wires and push it to it. Depends on how long this movie is, because I've got so much footage I've got to get through and I don't want to post a huge, long movie. So let's jump straight in and see where we get. G'day guys, Andy Work back. Time for some more work on beauty. Haven't done a lot since I posted the last movie reasons. So what I'm going to do now is start on sorting out the internals. Here's one I prepared earlier. So a couple of things I've got to sort out. So I've got to take everything out. One thing I'm going to leave in for the moment is the pusher, because I know where that pusher is, because that's where that pusher is. And so once I've got the other stuff out, and I've got my the Wolf B or something, and I'll put it in there. I'll map where that is by screwing something to it that touches that, so I know where that is. So then I know where to put this, and I'll just put it in. I'm going to take everything else out except for that. So that means leaving this part in as well, I think, which is not a great issue. And then I might actually get online and order that switch I need for that. And I got to do some research. I'm not big on electronics, as you know, so there's probably because it could possibly be LiPo powered, because I could do that. It'll need, certain wiring and 16 gauge silicon or whatever it is, and connectors and so on and so forth. But so with the magic of, I was going to say television, but video editing, I'm going to pull this thing apart. The only thing I don't want to take out is that. Okay, so let's start here with the switch. So now comes the wiring, which I cannot do a thing about because I haven't got it, but I will order a kit. So we'll just have the rev trigger doing the first micro switch to go up to the motors, vroom vroom. I might even, go all out and buy a couple of motors, something different. I'll have to ask a question online. Okay, but so a full auto kit, new motors running on LiPos. It'd be lovely to have this with Select Fire. That would be great. I'd like to do that. I think that's an Arduino, whatever they call it. So hopefully in the next time, in a few seconds when this video continues, I'll have a kit here and a bit here, and I'll have wires everywhere, and hopefully have it wired up. Morning everybody, happy Australia Day. Yes, it is the Australia Day holiday here in Australia. Of course it wouldn't be the Australia Day holiday in Venezuela, would it? And I'm wearing the traditional blue singlet for Australia Day. Now, working on beauty, I'm going to put the pusher motor in. Now, what I've done already, I've made a few black marks here to tell me where the original pusher sits. Oh, how does it go? Like that. Sits in there like that. So that pusher end, when I get it in, has to be in the same spot. And also, as you can see, they're quite different in size, so I'll have to shave this down, cut it down, maybe even cut a bit off and just put a screw in the right place sticking out. But so, that's actually down pretty much below the level. Right. Well, that's quite a nice little fit there. And it's not that far off where it should be. What I've done, I don't know if you can see, I'll try to get this, that line there is where the centre of the pusher needs to be, and that is where the centre of the pusher needs to be horizontally, and that's vertically. So it's actually 9 millimeters from that corner and it's 5mm down from that corner, so it's about here. And when I put that in, it's not that far off. It's actually pretty good. But a very easy way to check this is put the magazine, I know a magazine will tell me. Okay, magazine goes forward. Okay, it goes like that. Okay. So that goes there, and that goes up there. Where's that lock? Is the moment of truth. I push the pusher through, and it hits the tops. Yeah, that's way too low. So I've got to take a lot of this stuff out here and move the whole thing up about probably just to the inside of that area. So that's got to go there, that's got to go, that's got to go, that's got to go, that's got to go. Oh, there we go, look at that. Fits fourth time. Pushes even more further over that way than I would have liked, but that's fine. I can just build it back up with putty. So that is done. I'm amazed. And I didn't cut myself or draw blood at any point through that. Okay, right guys, hi. Anyway, it's back again. Time to do some work on Beauty. And God, it must be at least 2 months and I haven't done anything at all. I've just been busy with lots of things. Now, first thing, as you can see, I've put some metallic grey on it. I found this stuff, White Knight Squirts Gloss Metallic Charcoal, it says. But it looks like gunmetal to me, and it's slightly cheaper than the Duramax I used to use, I think it was called. This sort of looks like the can. It was Dulux, I think it was Duramax, but it was like a steel colour or something. I think this one's about half the price, actually, about $11 as opposed to over $20. So I sprayed, what I've done, I did all the orange, the rust yellow undercoat, did a little bit of rust bits and pieces. What I'm doing with this one is, in the workshop I just ran, I only had one person there, which was, yeah, lots of fun, but it did allow me to focus on things, and what I noticed is my weathering was getting, and rust and details were getting a bit piecemeal, and for want of a better term, haphazard. The wear wasn't where it should be, if that makes any sense. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to heavily wear it, as in paint worn off, so there's going to be lots, but I have some photos I took for the workshop. Yeah, I have these photos that I printed out for the workshop, and these are from pieces from Johnson's Arms on their DeviantArt page. So it shows you the wear and the rust, and it's a lot more regular where it should be. And I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for a very heavily worn look as opposed to a very heavily rusted, weathered look, if that makes sense. So I've painted all the parts I need to paint in this metallic grey. And the fact that it's not a full coverage with, you can still see parts of the red, doesn't worry me. If that comes through, that comes through. Still debating what colour scheme I'm going to use. I'm so many ideas. Thinking of, painting it red and white and have security printed on one side. Not sure what I'm going to do there, but what I'm going to do now is put on the clay slip to resist. And I've talked about this a lot. Clay slip is simply liquid clay. It's just, you can get it from any craft store. You probably have to buy a litre of it, half a gallon, whatever. And it might cost you $5-10. But the thing is, it'll be enough to last you the rest of your life. Just keep it in a sealed container, pull it out when you need it, put a little bit in a tub or a cup or something, let some of the water vent off over a day or so until it gets like cream, and then you just paint it on where you need it. And it's dirt cheap, because it's dirt basically. And you don't have to spend $30 on a tiny little bottle of latex. Now, I put some water in this dry clay, and that was only like less than 10 minutes ago. What you want is that. like cream, sorry. That's what you want it, like cream. Okay? So, now, it's easy enough, especially when you use these reference photos. You can see where the wear happens. W-H-E-R-E as W-E-A-R. Along edges, of course, where the thing's going to rub. Right, so and I've got lots of edges here. I've got there, all around the muzzle. So I'm just going to start in and do my best. And the only thing I'm going to try to avoid is making something that looks like a brush mark. Now, if it's partially covered, it still means there's some clay there, so paint may get through it, may not. It depends on how thick it is and how dense I put the paint on. So it's sort of one of those things you're not going to know what's happening until you actually get there, when you get all the masking off and look at it, which is a really great thing. It's so much fun. It's like unwrapping a Christmas present. Right, guys, back again. As you can see, it looks like it's got a skin condition. I've been putting more and more clay on because I'm really worried about how it's going to turn out. Yeah, but this is the thing with doing any sort of project. It doesn't matter if it's Nurse Blast or making a model kit or putting an IKEA wardrobe together. You don't know what it's going to look like until you're finished. So, in an effort to try and work out, get an idea, I've gone and bought myself some white spray paint. So, we'll see how this goes. And I'm simply going to paint the whole thing white. That way, a couple of benefits I can see. One, if it's white and it works, I could leave it like that and just put some weathering in and maybe a few stickers or decals or, you know, things to make it come alive. And if it's not, white's easy enough to paint over. So, let's give this a shot and see what happens. Now, I've already shaken this up for about a minute, so right. So I've got my respirator on, and you probably can't hear a word I'm saying, but okay, yeah, it could be just that it's a black, dark grey undercoat, and that's why it's not covering very well. Or it could be that pigment problem again. So, okay, so wait for 12, 24 hours, see how that dries, and then once I've got a nice solid coat, I'm simply going to wash all the clay off and see what the wear looks like. And then if I have to put something on like a line or some text or something, I can put it on a flat surface without any clay in the way, and the clay, the resistance there, say there's a number 1 here, in this area I'll just simply paint the clay over the bare metal again before I spray whatever colour I'm going to spray the number 1 in. So yeah, it's all sort of seat of the pants sort of modding. That's the way I do it. Whatever occurs at the time, I'll do it. So I'll give that a shot and see what happens. Hi guys, Andy Work back again. Now, got my blaster here with the white paint sprayed on it. I know it's not an even coat, it doesn't matter to me. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to repaint it, but this is the fun bit, I hope. I'm going to use little old tatty nylon scrubbing brush, and this is one of those sanding blocks with a piece of sponge in it, just to get off the clay. So let's give it a go. So I'll just show you, just break the surface, and then there's a bit of water, and it just starts dissolving. So I'm going to use this. So using the back will actually break the small amount of paint that's over the top of the clay. So let the water get in easier. Now, of course, there's no electronics in this, so I'm not ruining anything. See, this is a good example. That bit hasn't been broken yet, the paint covering. So break it, and it's gone. So I'm going to use this. This will just scratch the paint, but it will scratch the paint that's on the clay. Now, that wear and tear, I'm not entirely sure I like. But I'll do the rest of the blaster and have a look and see what it is. See what comes out of it. See if I get a beauty Or a beast. It's been such a long time before I got back to this. Sorry, I've had so many issues I've had to deal with. Now, okay, so we got beauty here. We got the white undercoat. I've done the metal, and I've done some touch up with the brush, and the clay resist looks okay. The brush resist looks terrible. So I asked online what sort of paint scheme, and only one reply. Somebody suggested urban, so I'm going to do urban, and I'm going to do urban that's the Berlin tanks. I don't know whether they were Challengers or Chieftains or whatever, but I'll put a photo here so you can know what I'm talking about. So, as you can see, I've blocked out rectangles of tape, so these areas will stay white, and squares. Now I'm going to now on the photo you can see they just do straight squares all over the place. So I'm going to change this slightly. I'm going to put another piece to make the occasional L shape and thing, and put a lot more of these little white squares down. Once I've got them, I've mixed up some grey paint, and I'm just going to spray areas grey, and when that's dry, do the tape again, and then spray some areas brown, do the tape again, and if I've got any areas showing, I'm going to mix up like a blue-grey or something, or maybe even a dark grey. Not sure at this stage, because I've done this wrong. This has been in the back of my mind for months. I can't remember the last movie I uploaded on it, but let's get on with it and not waste any more time. What I've got here is just a piece of glass, and I've got a rolling ruler, and if you know what that is, it's got a little roller in it and a calibrator, a measurement. So just by looking at it, I can roll a perfect line, so I don't have to keep measuring everything I cut. And I've got a nice square of masking tape I can put down somewhere. I've got a piece of tape here. I'm just going to attach it down here. So just like it's going to be a block of white with a little bit sticking out, I should say. I'll put one over here. I'm just barely laying it over the edge of the other stuff. Done the tape, little spots everywhere. Now I've got mixed up my grey, which is right here. So what I'm going to do is just spray patches of grey. Right, hi guys, back again. As I said, I've really stuffed this up the way I'm doing it, but I just went and got myself some blue. This is I can't even remember what it's called, but it's the bluest matte grey I could get at my local hobby store. So I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is mask off these brown areas to protect them, and then I think as a way to sort of rescue this paint job is everything that's not masked, just spray it blue. So when all the masking comes off, it'll look like a blue-grey gun with this urban camouflage stuck all over it. And then if I need to adjust things, I can spot paint little areas and very possibly use not a black but a dark grey in little sections, and maybe even little pure whites. Not quite sure, because one thing about camouflage is you don't want too many colours in it. 4 is really about your maximum, and even then 2 of those should be relatively close together, so that's why I'm happy to go with the blue, grey and the grey. So I'll get on masking all the brown bits on this thing and go from there.